1980 was a pivotal year in Britain. The UK economy slid into recession, Thatcher privatised the steel industry, and unemployment skyrocketed. And the Leadmill opened its doors on Friday the 23rd of May.
The Leadmill is perhaps the most famous events venue in Sheffield, synonymous with the Steel City music scene and home to some of the most popular club nights in town. But where did it all start? Was the Leadmill always the indie centre of Sheffield, or did it come from more humble beginnings?
Leadmill's flour mill exterior emphasises Sheffield's working-class industrial background, which has remained central to the Leadmill's ethos since its opening in 1980.
The events venue, located in the heart of the city centre, originally opened as a social hub, where you could enjoy food and drinks as well as karate classes and music events. This diverse range of options cemented the Leadmill's popularity amongst Sheffielders, and this love has trickled down to younger generations over the years.
Employment in the north of England was rife after the deindustrialisation period of the late 1970s. The closing of coal mines and steelworks in the local area had a detrimental effect on employment within Sheffield. With unemployment increasing by 270% in South Yorkshire between 1980 and 1983, it was essential to appeal to Sheffield's working class and unemployed. The unemployed made up 13% of the working population in Sheffield, and the council thought it may have been as high as 30% in some areas. Over 8,900 people lost their jobs in the first 8 months of 1981, which was 3 times more than in the whole of 1979. The election of Margaret Thatcher in 1979 saw the landscape of industrial Sheffield change forever. Her time at 10 Downing Street through the 1980s caused hardships for many northern industries and their workers. This is emphasised by the events put on by the Leadmill in the 1980s, as is shown in these posters.
Between 1971 and 1983, there was a 60% decrease of people employed in the steel industry, so Leadmill made it their mission to keep their prices low to ensure that their customers could afford leisure even during such hard times. One of the most popular recreational activities amongst the young was dancing in the nightclubs and venues. Competitors charged £2 entry and drinks prices up to 20p more expensive than local pubs. In contrast, the Leadmill charged £1 or even 50p with a discounted ticket. It was a form of escapism against the harsh realities of deindustrialisation and life on the dole.
When looking through Leadmill's document archives ourselves, we came across an original council funding request. The Leadmill requested council funding to keep their venue accessible to all. This funding would keep the venue running without increasing food, drink or event prices, and therefore keeping the unemployed youth of Sheffield engaged. The Leadmill's prices were less than half of other competitors, so without the venue, many of the unemployed people would be unable to enjoy time with their friends. The Leadmill struggled to make a profit, sometimes losing up to £500 a week, as they remained open for 17 hours a day to serve the people of Sheffield.
However, it is important to discuss Sheffield's music scene prior to the Leadmill's opening in order to understand music patterns in the city. Bands such as the Human League, ABC, Cabaret Voltaire and Heaven 17 all took their roots in Sheffield. It is unsurprising that the new electronic music of the late 1970s with its industrial sound stemmed from Sheffield and its infamous steelworks. It cannot be denied that these bands and their music paved the way for the Leadmill to build on their success.
When the Leadmill opened in 1980, it was a mere 2 years until most of the electronic bands had left Sheffield in 1982, but their success would go on to inspire another generation. It was this period which really put Sheffield on the British music map and allowed the Leadmill to have confidence in hosting and furthering the careers of Sheffield bands such as Pulp. There is a sense of pride among Sheffielders at being the birthplace of these bands, so much so that these 80s hits are still being played today in the Leadmill at their monthly Club Tropicana event. This is further evidenced by the lyrics of Sheffield bands adorning the walls of Leadmill.
On the ruins of the Sheffield steel industry, the city began to regenerate and build a new culture and leisure scene. Bands such as the Human League were formed out of boredom from Sheffield's lack of culture besides the steel industry. With the steel industry a mere shadow of its former self, this made room for the regeneration of Sheffield's culture.
From Meadowhall to the Institute of Sport, a lot of money was invested in improving the quality of life in Sheffield, with the aim of inspiring the youth to go on to better things. Throughout this time, the Leadmill was always there with open arms, waiting to welcome the next big thing. This light at the end of the tunnel inspired a new generation of acts to celebrate their Sheffield roots.
This pattern of Sheffield's success appears to have repeated itself with the likes of Arctic Monkeys, Milburn and the indie soundtrack of the noughties being the pride of Sheffield, topping the charts, breaking America and headlining festivals, yet still being played on the Leadmill Dancefloor night after night. This affection for the Sheffield music scene, and in particular the Leadmill, can be seen in the popularity of the sale of the Leadmill's original Dancefloor, a place where many a Sheffield resident has shared a happy memory.
The Leadmill has come a long way since it first opened its doors to serve the unemployed of Sheffield. It now puts on huge events, including its own stage at the renowned Tramlines Festival and hosting huge outdoor gigs at Don Valley for the likes of chart-topping George Ezra. The love for Leadmill has now spread far and wide, with the influx of university students helping to spread the word about this Sheffield treasure. 2018 is set to see some great live music at the Leadmill. Could any of these be the next Pulp or Arctic Monkeys? Only time will tell.